and they basically put you in charge and said, Anthony, give us the historic homes tour.
Good luck. Yeah. I learned something today too.
I don't know, or I could be making it up. I don't know, but we're going to learn as we go along here. Give us a little history about how this whole homes tour thing started and kind of what it's grown into today.
Certainly. The New Bern Historical Society, it's first important to recognize the organization distinguishes itself as the storytellers.
Yeah.
And with a mission to deliver these stories and perspectives of the city of New Bern, you'll know the Historical Society most through the Heritage Homes Tour, which has been running since 1967.
Wow.
The other most popular fundraiser is the Ghost Walk, which has been running 35 years. Over the years, we've changed as an organization, but some things have remained the same. And our board of directors today is committed to this style of storytelling. It's very immersive. Ticket holders get to come out in the community, walk around the historic districts and see. They get to see these homes, see the architecture, walk through and experience and hear our docents telling stories of the past, telling important stories of those who have lived in the residences and important stories related to these homes. So that's going to continue in our mission. It's just such a sweet spot. And with that in mind, as I said, this has been running since 1967. There were a couple years we didn't run it, so it's actually our 55th Heritage Homes Tour.
Wow.
And in that, we have to recognize how that's possible.
Yes.
We're a small staff. There's 4 of us on staff, but with a board of directors, we have 23 board members and volunteers like you wouldn't believe. This event alone takes more than 200 volunteers. Wow. Across our programmatic year, we use about 450 volunteers. So these volunteers are the people who run the committees. We have 2 committee chairs. They're phenomenal, Kathy O'Brien and Sharon Nelson. They've been doing this for several years. They've got it figured out. Yeah. But in every aspect, selecting the homes, preparing the docents, managing the volunteers, and all of the things that we print, right down to the artwork.
Yeah.
Local artist Janet Francoeur, she's been doing this for us for 20 years, providing paintings of the poster home, which we put on our brochure. Yeah. You'll see posters around town. Yeah. 20 years as a volunteer and preparing an original painting of that home to the homeowner when we're done. And that's my final part of how this is possible is homeowners.
Yes.
I mean, we've got some incredible folks that open up their doors for 2 days. This event runs Friday and Saturday. And, to let us pass through and walk through their homes, it's just such a charitable thing, and they recognize the importance.
The homes change every year, right? It's not the same homes on the tour every year, even though sometimes you'd like them to be because some of these homes are so fantastic. But how do you kind of pick the homes and how many are in the rotation year in and year out?
Well, there's some funny stories about how we do it. There's a little bit of begging. There's also a theory that when anyone who's new to the community in the downtown area, we immediately knock on their door and say, welcome to the neighborhood. We've got you on the tour. Yeah. But there is a thought process. We try to put some years between it. There certainly are some very popular homes. The Blades house was on here 2 years ago, the William B. Blades home. But we can't deliver every year. We've got to let them live in their home. Yeah. But we look for all different. Small, we look for dependencies, law offices that you'll see on the tour this year. And we also rotate each year. We try to get minimally 6 houses in the downtown immediate historic area, but then we rotate between historic Riverside, the Ghent neighborhood, and the historic DeGraff and Reed, which is on the tour this year. We have 3 homes in DeGraff and Reed. So there is a thought process about how we expose the community to the 4 separate historic districts.
Any idea how many homes have been featured in the home tour during the 55 years?
Ooh, I wish I had done my math before meeting with you. Again, we've ranged anywhere from 10 to 20 homes per year. Yeah. So there's been some heavier years where we've had 16 to 20, and it's remarkable. This is, I've seen the last few years somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 14. It allows, I'll be honest, this is getting more and more popular.
Yes.
And so, smaller, allowing everybody to get around town and actually get to all of the sites.
And this is a self-guided tour, right? You don't load on a bus and take people now crowd into a house. It's a self-guided tour?
Absolutely right. We are, as a historical entity, we come back to a physical ticket. We love putting things on paper, and it's self-guided. We ask our folks to stop through our offices at 511 Broad Street, or you can buy your tickets at the local Harris Teeters in Carolina Colors or out in West New Bern. Mitchell Hardware has been carrying the tickets for years. In fact, when I first moved here 9 years ago, it was Mr. Greg Smith who handed me the ticket, and I was a fan ever since. But this physical ticket is your pass to walk around, self-guided, and the most important part is inside the ticket is the map with numbered locations for the houses and lettered locations for the historic churches that open their doors as well.
Yeah, so you can't just walk into any home and be like, hey, I'm here.
No.
You have to follow the map.
You'll follow the map, and we'll have signs out in front of those houses designated between the hours of 10 and 4. That's also for the churches. There's 2 churches this year that are closed on Friday, running event. They have some weddings. Yeah. So please don't walk into those. Those are Christ Episcopal and the First Baptist Church are closed on Friday, but that's clearly marked on the ticket. And for everyone else who lives in these communities, we try to respect that. Parking on the streets is how this happens. People walking around like you and I are going to do today is what we encourage, and it's a rain or shine event. But we're working on ordering this type of weather for that day.
For first-timers that are going into these homes, what do you encourage them to do? Like, do they go in, do they say hi? Do they take a seat? Like, what is the protocol of going into these homes?
We make it pretty thoughtless, really. Is you'll get to a house, it'll be clear that a line is waiting, and you'll be greeted by a ticket taker who checks you off and makes sure that you are an actual ticket holder. From there, there's some information going to be shared just generally about the home you're about to see. And then roughly as you pass through most of these homes on their first floor, you go from one docent to the next, and they all have their information that they're sharing. So there is options and opportunities for maybe a question here and there, but because it's following a timeline of about trying to get people through a house in about 10 minutes, the docents run the timeline. And as a participant, you're just following along, and there's opportunities to look around. You'll hear about features in the home, history of the home, and even some things that the current homeowner wanted to share with our guests.
Nice.
So features,
Don't linger. Don't make yourself too much at home. Enjoy it, but understand other people are going through.
Absolutely. The couches are usually off limits.
And there's really neat feature, and there'll probably be stuff they tell you, but you're not going to be able to go in every room in the house, I would expect.
Right.
So,
as I was kind of indicating, some want to keep their upstairs and their bedrooms off limits.
Right.
This has all been plotted out, mapped out. There's even in some cases we have some ropes put up to keep people moving along. In some cases you'll pass out back doors and walk through the gardens, and you'll get a chance to see that as well.
I know this is all possible with sponsors. There's a bunch of sponsors that help you out. If you want to talk about who helps you put this on every year.
Yeah, we've had a growing list for a lot of our events, but this one, our title sponsor is the Neuse River Region Association of Realtors. Whitney over there has been my closest friend, a great supporter. The organization for years has come and supported us. So first to them.
And they may sell you a historic home if you'd like,
Yeah, with that in mind, I mean, it attracts a lot of realtors. And it's a really smart pairing of getting your name out there. Donna and Team New Bern, another great sponsor, they're even putting a team of their realtors to work one of the houses. I think they'll be at the Edward R. Stanley House at Pollock and Hancock Street. And they're going to support the whole home, for running this tour. But also we've got media sponsors with Fox, Channel 12, so thumbs up to this team and you all. And PRE, we've got Public Radio East, who's been doing great things to promote our message. And then a long list of others in the community. I could go on, but I really just need to thank these volunteers. It's this committee. I have a marketing chair, Kathy Morrison, who has just been on top of her game every week. And these homeowners, I'm just so grateful for people, 200 that come out and work those docent stations, the ticket taking. It all happens through people who just want to be involved.
All right, let's talk about a couple of the homes that are on the tour this year. We don't want to give away everything. We want you to go on the tour and you can learn really cool, intricate details. But this home behind us is one of the ones that is featured because of Bayard Wooten, who has a lot of great history here. If you didn't know, I don't know everything about her, but I knew she was a great photographer. She helped copyright the very first Pepsi logo. She was in the first female member of the National Guard.
Right.
So tell us more about why this house is on the tour this year.
Well, you're known as a local historian, and you do a great job. And I won't pretend to be one, but I've got to watch what I share. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of great information, but What a neat house. This is the Dawson Clark house,
Yep.
circa 1810.
Okay.
Completed in 1810, and it went through various different owners, but really notably, of course, is Bayard Wooten. And we know her very well for what she did in the early 20th century. Her grandmother, Mary Bayard Devereux Clark, is where it gets the Dawson Clark from.
Gotcha.
She was also an accomplished writer and poet for the state. So she in her own right, that's Bayard's grandmother, who lived in this home in the 1870s. So yeah, what a wonderful place to grow up, and probably a ton of inspiration for Bayard Wooten. I brought today with me a photograph I'll share with your team that during her photography career, she took a shot looking right out at the Neuse River, and I can only imagine that was probably one of her favorite views. And many of us who are familiar with this area, I think we would agree that's just one of the most incredible views the city has to offer. So it is referred to as the Louisiana House.
Louisiana House.
They call it the Louisiana House. A lot of locals will know it as such. I've done some reading on it. Architectural historian Peter Sandbeck did a full review of every home in New Bern in 1985.
Wow.
And he shared in that research that most likely Mary Bayard Devereux Clark, her influence and having some time spent in Louisiana, she felt the porches kind of had that feel, that Louisiana feel to her. It's not with any 100% certainty on that, but I think you can get a little bit of that influence.
And one of the cool things, even if you're not on the tour or don't take it, there are the placards, for lack of a better term, on the front porches that give a little description of the homes and stuff as well. So if you're not going to do the tour, but you're interested in the future, but you can't make it this year, if you're ever in downtown New Bern, you can always kind of walk by, and from a distance you can read those cool placards that are out there.
And we're pretty proud of that too, is anybody who puts their home on the tour, as a gift to them, we get a new placard made for them. And we make sure that it's accurate and it kind of stays in the standard. There were times where different entities were doing those plaques, but we call it the shadow box, the historical shadow box.
Shadow box.
And it's a really neat feature when you're in historic towns like this. You get to walk around and learn. But this is a great stop. There is no method really for when you get your ticket where to start. 511 Broad Street is a good centralized location where Will Call is.
Right.
In our backyard, we're going to have some music. We're going to have a sit and sip station.
Okay.
But immediately on that block of Broad Street, Pollock, Hancock, Metcalf, we have 3 other locations within a stone's throw.
Yeah.
People are free to choose wherever they want to start. I get oftentimes questions of what direction should I go? What's the best technique? If you want to start out here on the outskirts, it's entirely up to you. This would be pretty neat. You've got a couple within this.
Front Street's not a bad place to start. Also a great place to finish because of the views and the weather.
You can't go wrong.
No, you can't. And there's so many historical signs along East Front Street too. And there's the one for Bayard Wooten that gives you makes it easy to find the house too when you do that. All right, let's go check out the Slover House, which is right down the road here. And another one that's a ton of history in this place. Too much history.
Too much for us to get over.
Yeah, but we'll show you a little bit of that. So come on with us. All right, Anthony, let's check out what a lot of people refer to as the Pepsi House, the Burnside House, but it actually has an official name called the
Charles Slover House, and also the Slover Bradham House, to give credit to those 2 prominent names.
So built in what, the early 1800s?
This is an 1848 completion. So it was built between 2 years, 46 to 48. 1848 is completion.
The Slovers were in here during the occupation, the Union occupation during the Civil War. This is where General Burnside made his headquarters. And for you history buffs, General Burnside is credited with the naming of the sideburn. His unique facial hair was the sideburn.
I was going to come prepared today. I decided to leave it. The tour doesn't pay me enough to do that kind of move. So.
Yep. And so they occupied the house for a little while during the Civil War. And then Caleb Bradham, the inventor of Pepsi, bought it in the early 1900s, 1908. And they lived here for a while. So a lot of cool
34. History. Yeah, it's really remarkable. Another act of preservation, really. To open up this grand house. Charles Slover, a merchant, did a lot of trade, made a bunch of money. But I read that he had 8 children, so that explained the floor plan to me. Is I would need a lot more space with 8 children too. But for the Bradham portion of the legacy, It's got such fascinating history. You'll hear about it as you pass through. A lot of unique features, right down to a tree that was planted out front, a ginkgo tree that is said to be from the Bradham era.
Yeah.
And current, you have to shed light on the homeowners now. Jim and Ann Shout have done exceptional
Phenomenal job.
work.
Yeah. I've actually been lucky enough to get inside the home. You're going to be seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah.
It's kind of neat, and all the history that Ann has put so much detail into restoring. They just had a bunch of scaffolding up here recently, so I know they keep working on this building.
Right. I think once we let them know that we were interested in the house, she said, "Oh boy, we got some last details." No, but it's a labor of love. In talking to Ann, she lets me know that it's going to be ongoing. That's their investment, is they want it to be preserved for the city of New Bern and keep this history. But that Civil War history is just incredible when you think about what New Bern's importance after that battle right here.
Yeah, and I think she said, and I'll let Ann explain it when the tour goes on, but there were some things they found from Civil War era in there. Not many Pepsi bottles. It's been, the properties, you won't find too many Pepsi relics around here if you're digging around. But it's also, she has a cool story about Mark Twain's only non-fiction book he ever wrote had something to do with a woman who used to work here.
That's right.
As a slave. And so then she went to New York. Mark Twain ended up writing her story about it. His only non-fictional book that he ever wrote.
I learned something today too.
I don't know, or I could be making it up. I don't know, but we're going to learn as we go along here. But that's one of the cool stops here on the tour is this house. And so I guess for people who want to embrace this history, this is the neat part about this whole thing, is the stories that are now handed down generation to generation. The homeowners really get to tell those stories.
Right. I mean, and that's where I think our mission, it remains strong. We're dedicated to learning new things and even going back and revising as we learn more. But it trickles all the way down through our membership, through our volunteers. These people are passionate about learning it, retaining it, sharing it. I mean, it's infectious in New Bern. I think it doesn't take long for people to visit, fall in love with it, and then you turn in every corner and feel like you can learn a whole new part of history, and it's just so tangible here. And the fact that Burnside's campaign made a very deliberate effort to keep things intact. To leave things as they were. That's a testament to being here, standing here today, and being able to appreciate these.
Civil War, so much history. The Raines brothers were from here, and they had a lot to do with the ammunition. But you could learn all that on your own. I've been here 25 years. I continually learn new stuff all the time. All right, for anybody who's interested, I know tickets are going fast. Anybody who's interested in still getting aboard this homes tour, how do they go about it?
Yeah, the things to do for tickets, first you can get on our website, www.newbernhistorical.org. You can go right from the main page. There's links for homes tours tickets. Those are $16 for members, $16 for active duty, and also $16 for students with IDs. That's really targeting that college student or high school student with an ID. It's really, it's harder to get real young kids to appreciate architecture and stories. So we do think that this is more above the teenage, but parents can certainly decide how to do that. For non-members, it's $20, but you've got to act on that advance price up until May 1st. That's a Thursday. We'll sell them till midnight at that $20 rate on the days of the event. Friday the 2nd and Saturday, May 3rd, they go up to $23 for non-members. So it's that's first is on the website. Second option you have is just coming into our offices, 511 Broad Street, downtown. You'll come in and our staff will help take care of you. Other options are the 2 Harris Teeters, again down in Taberna or out in West New Bern. Those Harris Teeters at their customer service desks, they have a flat rate. So if you're a member, you already know to come through our office. The last option is one of our favorites, is Mitchell Hardware. And those folks there have been supporting that for years. Winnie, Lindsay, you go see them at the front desk there and they'll take care of you. Large groups are encouraged. Call our office. We actually reduce the price for group rate non-members. So
that's cool.
Those are the options.
All right, so the only thing keeping you from checking out these cool historic tours is you. So if you have the opportunity, we encourage it. If not, you do it every year, 55 years now.
We're going to keep doing this. I would say that it's you're going to see people out and about that weekend. It's the Neuse River Bridge Run going on that same day on Saturday morning. That'll clear up by about 9:30. And our event starts at 10 and runs till 4 both days. we've seen over 1,000 ticket holders up to about 1,500 ticket holders.
That's
so
right.
we accommodated it all, and we think that the lines move pretty well. Just like Ghost Walk, we had 2,800 ticket holders last fall. So please, I encourage you to support the New Bern Historical Society. Certainly buy these tickets, which allows us to keep these types of events and maintain the historic battlefield, the New Bern Battlefield Park. All of these proceeds go directly back to our programming, maintaining the Atmore Oliver House and campus, as well as the Battlefield Park. If you're interested in memberships, also, that allows you to get reduced rates throughout the year for our education programs, lunch and learns, and other social events. Please visit our website.